Oh my God, what is wrong with me?
All right, what's going on, man? It's your boy, Cloth, and I'm back with another video, man. Looking for my starting somewhere. I'm not going nowhere. All right, so today is gonna be another sneaker review. And I actually wasn't planning on doing this sneaker review until somebody commented on my YouTube short right here. And I was like, oh, why didn't I make a video on that? Why didn't I give my thoughts on that to some degree? Why didn't I talk about these at all? I was just like, well, let's do it. And the sneaker that I'm gonna be talking about is going to be this is gonna be the Leonardo from Flamingos Life. Honestly, it kind of resembles, to me at least, almost like a New Balance 550. Obviously, in its own respect, is different. It doesn't look like a 950 completely. But that's the only shoe I can compare it to as far as like the thickness of it, the sole of it. It kind of just reminds me of a 550, given that I had a 550 and that's the only one I can compare it to right now. But this is what it looks like right here. I've had these shoes for probably like a year and some change now, so it definitely has some wear on it, has some stains, has some creases. It's definitely not fresh out the box like my typical reviews. And since this isn't my typical review, I'm not gonna be like, oh, like I just took it out the box, you know, my first impression, like they're beat in already. They already been worn. Already know how I feel about the shoe, comfortability wise, sizing wise, so I don't need to do all that. But I do want to talk about one thing. If you couldn't tell from the title, Flamingos Life is a plant-based company that really harps on veganism. Now, I always try to give credit where credit is due. I always try to show respect where respect is due. You entering into the sneaker or just shoe space in general, when you know that is dominated by animal products, that is dominated by the byproducts of animal goods, like when you enter this space and you take a stand such as, we're not gonna use anything that's gonna increase pollution, CO2 emissions, we're gonna use things such as like bamboo, recycled plastics. I just wanna give you your respect because you don't have to take that stand. Because for the most part, the sneaker or shoe space in general, a lot of people just don't care about it. Like they want that leather good, they want that canvas sneaker, they want, you know, I wouldn't say people want to increase pollution or they want to use things that are damaging the earth, but like we're already so adopted to or so accustomed to those things that people just don't care. They want that thing because that's what we've been using. So again, when a company like Flamingos Life is like, no, we're gonna help clean up the ocean, help, you know, try to help pollution as much as possible because we know the fashion industry, but also like maybe sneakers plays a part in that, like they're the biggest contributor to pollution. So I definitely want to give credit where credit is due because, again, I'm sure this in some way has impacted this business because people are already accustomed to like leather goods or accustomed to canvas sneakers or accustomed to things that are, you know, things that are ultimately hurting the earth, let's say. Because at the end of the day, they didn't have to do that. These companies are in it for business for the most part. Like a lot of these companies just want, how do I turn this dollar into, you know, 10? How I turn that 10 to 100 and 100 to 1,000? Like that's their main focus. So I'm sure in some way that has impacted this business because they could have just did leather goods. They could have just did, you know, the typical for when it comes to sneakers and shoes, but they're like, no, we got a completely different mission. We want to help and save the earth. So like, again, credit where credit is due. And I really want to read this excerpt from their website directly just because I feel like that really embodies what this company is all about. Our aim is to make biodegradable sneakers. Our production centers located in Spain and Portugal are managed by families. We use materials developed by ourselves such as corn, bamboo, hemp, organic cotton, grown only with water, no pesticides, and natural rubber extracted in a sustainable way from the Hevea basilensis tree. Words are hard. And I feel like that's really at the heart of this company. Like they want to make a product as sustainable and ethical as possible. But that's all I wanted to mention. I just wanted to give like a little bit of the history or like a little bit of like what this company is about before I go ahead and talk about the sneaker. But let's talk about the sneaker. Now, I know what I said about all the ethical, about all, like I respect that, but I gotta be honest about how I feel about these shoes. So let's talk about comfortability. I was actually surprised by these because my other interactions with plant-based sneakers or vegan shoes across the board, they always seem to be so flimsy. Like you could take the shoe and twist it and I feel like I could rip the shoe apart. But these actually have some really good structure on them. Like they don't really move as much as I thought they were gonna do. Because again, like my other interactions with plant-based sneakers is like they basically will fall apart or like they're super flimsy. There's no structure. My foot feel like it's just like, you know, doing whatever in it. But these actually kept my foot in place. They're actually pretty comfortable on the inside as far as like the cushion. And I was surprised, like the comfortability wise, like they're actually really decent sneakers and they're structured really well. Like you can't really do anything with these. Like they're staying in place. And I think that's really adding to the overall comfortability of this shoe. The only thing I don't like about this, and I don't think this really plays, or it may play a part into why I don't find it like as like the most comfortable shoe as possible, is there's so much space on the top of this shoe. And I know that's how it's designed, but there's so much space. And I feel like if this was like cut in half, this would have made this shoe like just that much better in my opinion, just because like my foot is set in there, but like all this extra space up there doesn't really, it doesn't do anything for me. And I feel like that kind of takes away from like the structure of the shoe. But all in all, like this is actually a really comfortable sneaker for it to be vegan, for it to be plant-based. And again, my other interactions with plant-based sneakers are, you could do all this and it'd be twisting and turning, distorted, like it'd be, all over the place. But these are actually pretty great for it being vegan or for it being plant-based. Now let's talk about sizing. Now these are gonna be a 9.5. And I found myself recently being a 9.5 in a lot of sneakers, Asics, Adidas, some of my Garden Mules, and like I find myself reaching for a lot of 9.5s as of late. But for these being a 9.5, I definitely feel like I should have gone down a half size. I probably should have took my true size for these, just because again, it has all this space up here that I feel like is attributing to my foot not feeling like it's really set in there. So again, I'm like gripping the hell out of this shoe. But again, I feel like for me having like a slimmer foot, I feel like I could have gone with a size 9 and it would have fit me way better. I feel like I would have had a better experience in them. Although I didn't have a bad experience, I feel like I would have had a better experience had I gone with a 9. But also just take that information with a grain of salt. Again, that is my experience. I feel like I would say, and I feel comfortable saying across the board, that you should go with like your true size. So if you're somebody that teeter-totters between like a full size and a half size, you might want to go to that full size. And again, that's just based off, my experience with these shoes. So sizing wise, not too much of an issue. I can still rock these. I can still wear them. They're not just like falling off, but I definitely feel like there's way more space in these. And I feel like I could have got a 9 and just been happier with the overall fit of the shoe. Now let's talk about styling. They're not really my style. They're not really like something I would go reach for. Like I definitely wouldn't go out and purchase these, but I did just take a look at their website. Now this definitely falls in line more with my style, a little bit of a slimmer shoe, really low profile, something I could feel like I could really gravitate to. It kind of almost resembles like a Samba to some degree, but I feel like that's more my style. This one just isn't my style. It's too big of a shoe and it doesn't really have, complex, attributes to it. So it's just really just shoe at that point. But all in all though, I see other people that could rock this and I see how this could be, if you like a 550 and you want to be someone that wants to go to veganism and you want somebody to, really care about the planet, like this is definitely a great alternative to a 550 because I don't think 550s were that great. I don't think material wise, I don't think comfortability, like these are definitely right on par with the 550. So if you're somebody that's like, I want to find an alternative to 550, I think these Flamingo Life Leonardos are definitely like right there. Like I wouldn't put the 550 above these. Like these are like right here when it comes to the New Balances, in my opinion. And the last thing that I'll mention about this shoe is the materials that the shoe was made of, just because I think it's so dope again, what this shoe was made of and what they went through just to get this shoe out there. So I'm just gonna read what this shoe was made of. And I didn't know this until very recently, as of like very recently today. So let's read what this shoe was made of. The upper material is made from 70% corn waste and 30% cotton. External pieces combined in nylon sequel. Material made from plastic litter collected from the ocean. Inner lining from 60% bamboo. Organic cotton laces. Made in Portugal. The sneakers are packaged in a 100% recyclable cardboard box. Which is this box right here. Very minimal design, not too much going on. That is what they look like at the top. Which that information is already dope, but they also go to the lengths again to explain what the impact is compared to the industry. 58% less water scarcity, 40% less CO2 emissions, 22% less phosphate emissions. And again, they don't need to provide that. They don't need to do all that extra work. But it just shows the integrity at which they're trying to operate their business on. And again, you got to show respect where respect due, because what they're doing ultimately helps, my life and other people's lives, just because like they're trying to help the planet. But again, not really a shoe that I would gravitate to. Again, I think there's other shoes on their website that I gravitate to as far as like that aligns with my style a little bit more. But overall, definitely want to give them a highlight. Definitely want to give people alternatives to just like the standard. Like there's vegan brands or plant-based companies out there that is making good shoes. Again, this shoe is structured really well. There's nothing really wrong with it other than like my personal taste, my personal style. But other than that though, what the company is doing is super dope. So shout out to this dude again that, commented on this video and kind of popped it back in my head to do a review on these. But without further ado, like I always do, I'll catch y'all in the next one.
But I love the way you work it. Ay, I love the way you work it for